Have you ever caught yourself daydreaming about retirement, wondering if you're finally close enough to make it a reality? Maybe you've asked yourself, is now the time? Have I done enough? Well, what if I told you that you have done enough and that it is the time now? What if I told you that you might not have to wait until the normal age of 65 and that you could retire tomorrow? There's a powerful tool built into your retirement plan called the Rule of 85, and it just might be your ticket to an early retirement. While many retirement rules and guidelines can be complicated, the Rule of 85 is refreshingly simple. In fact, it is as simple as adding two numbers together. In this short video, we are going to talk about what this magical rule is, how it works, and some important things for you to keep in mind. So, what is the Rule of 85? Well, it is a special provision in your retirement plan that allows you to retire before the normal retirement age of 65. Under normal circumstances, if you draw your benefits before your retirement age, you incur a permanent reduction for the rest of your life. Unless, of course, you are able to satisfy the Rule of 85. Let's talk briefly about how this permanent reduction works so you can see why the Rule of 85 is such a valuable aspect of your plan. Many school employees choose to retire when they turn 62 years old. This is because 62 is the earliest age that you can start receiving Social Security benefits. As such, many school employees choose to start drawing money from Social Security and the Nebraska Public School Plan at the same time. However, the monthly retirement check from your school plan will be reduced by 9% because there is a 3% permanent reduction applied for every year that you start drawing benefits under the age of 65. With the Rule of 85, you can avoid this reduction and claim a full and unreduced benefit while still retiring early. Let's go back to that simple math problem I mentioned earlier, which is your age on your effective date plus the total years of credible service that you have. If the sum of those two numbers is equal to or greater than 85, you meet the Rule of 85. Let's apply this to our previous example. In order for a 62-year-old to satisfy the Rule of 85, they would need at least 23 years of service under their belt, as 62 plus 23 equals 85. However, someone who is 62 but only had 22 years of service would not meet the Rule of 85, as 62 plus 22 is 84, which is obviously less than 85. As a final example, you can see that fractional amounts do work for the Rule of 85. Someone who is 62 and a half with 22 and a half years of service would satisfy the rule, as those add together to be 85. Yes, it really is that straightforward. However, there is technically one more thing to keep in mind. The Rule of 85 does have its own minimum retirement age, which is based on your tier status as a plan member. Plan members who are tiers 1, 2, and 3 can retire as early as the age of 55 to receive their unreduced monthly benefit, as long as they have at least 30 years to satisfy the Rule of 85. For Tier 4 members, that minimum age is 60, meaning to meet the Rule of 85, you would need at least 25 years of service. Now that we know the basics of the Rule of 85, let's take a look at a couple of scenarios that many of our retiring school members face and that you may be facing as well. The first is for a retiring member who does satisfy the Rule of 85, but upon their retirement, they are a couple months short of the minimum age requirements of 55 or 60. These individuals typically would defer their benefit until they meet the minimum age requirement for their tier, and from there, they would be able to enjoy their unreduced benefit. In other words, retirees in this instance might have a gap between their termination date, which is when their contract or time of working expires and they retire, and their effective date, which is when they start receiving benefits. The second scenario is for a member that is past their minimum age requirement to meet the Rule of 85, but they do not have quite enough years of service to actually satisfy the rule. As an example, You could be 60 and a half years old with 24 years of service and want to retire. However, you would be shy of the rule of 85 by zero point 0.5. So, you would have a couple of choices here. One, you could retire right then at the age of 60 and a half and incur the permanent reduction to your benefit. However, a lot of people tend to not like that option. The second thing you could do is choose to defer your benefits for 6 months until you would be old enough at 61 to be meeting the rule of 85, as 61 plus 24 would be 85, and from there you could receive your unreduced benefit. The final option you could take advantage of is purchasing 6 months of credible service through an optional service credit that you can take advantage of. By doing so, you would be able to meet the rule of 85 now and enjoy your unreduced benefit. If you want more information regarding this last option, please check out our purchase of service video that is available on our website at npers.ne.gov or our YouTube channel. By watching this video, you will be able to meet Dave, who is in a very similar situation and is able to take advantage of buying credit. With all the different confusing scenarios in the world, you can count on the rule of 85 to keep things simple. Just ask yourself these two questions. Have I met my minimum retirement age for my tier? And does my age on my effective date plus the years of my credible service equal 85? If you answer yes to both of these questions, then you can reap the very wonderful benefit of retiring early and getting the most out of your lifetime monthly pension.